Hello students, here I am Rajesh Kumar Singh from Divine Public School, Mohanapur, Gorakhpur. Let us proceed on the next chapter of the Hornbill, lesson 8, Silk Road by Nick Middleton. Nick Middleton. This chapter is about the narrator's journey from the slopes of Rabu to Mount Kailash to complete the Kora. To bid him farewell, Lamo gave him a long sleeve fur coat made of the sheepskin. The narrator hired Satan's car for his journey and took Daniel along to escort him to Dorchen. Let us see summary of the lesson. What is in it? The narrator wanted to go to Mount Kailash to complete the Kora. That is a sacred journey to walk around that sacred mountain is called Kora. For this purpose, he hired Satan to drive him up to Mount Kailash. As a farewell gift, Lamo, a Tibetan lady, gave him a long-sleeved sheepskin coat. He took Daniel as his companion till Dorchen. When they started the journey, Satan took a short cut to the southwest, which a direct route, which is a direct route to Mount Kailash. They had to cross high mountain passes to reach their destination. Satan assured him that it would be no problem if there would be no snow. They crossed through few gazelles, a herd of wild asses, as well as a herd of wild deers. Gazelles means a deers, beautiful wild deers with two long horns, and a herd of wild asses and shepherds tending their flocks of sheep. When they reached the hill, they passed dark tents which were home for nomads. He saw Tibetan mastiffs standing outside the tents as a guard. These mastiffs ran after his car as he reached near the tents. The dogs had large jaws. As soon as they entered the valley, they witnessed snow-capped mountains with rivers flowing which were blocked with ice. When they were riding through the hill, the turns became sharper and the roads became bumpier. Satan was driving in third gear. The protagonist, the narrator, felt the pressure in his ears. He held his nose, snorted to clear the congestion. He felt congestion caused mucus in his nose and he snorted to clear it. He checked his wristwatch and found that they were at 5,210 meters above the sea level. They reached their first hurdle, which was a road filled with snow. Satan threw dirt on the snow and drove carefully on that road. They resumed their journey. The protagonist felt his head was hurting. He took a few sips of water from his water bottle. They were still climbing up the hill. They reached at 5,550 meters above sea level. They stopped again, and this time the fuel tank hissed when Satan unscrewed the top. Since The petrol was expanding due to low atmospheric pressure. Satan told them not to smoke around it. Soon in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, they stopped for lunch. The protagonist's headache was gone by now. By late afternoon, they reached a small town called Hor. They reached the east-west highway again. It was the old route from Lhasa to Kashmir. Daniel got off the car and took a lift to Lhasa. Their car had a few punctures which worried Satan. He got them fixed and the protagonist waited at a hotel cafe of her while having a glass of tea. He found her a miserable place. After a while, Satan reached to him and they resumed their journey again. At night around 10:30 p.m., they stopped at a guest house in Dorchen to spend the night. The protagonist got ill and suffered from nose congestion due to the change in altitude and cold weather. He stayed awake all night. Next morning, Satan took him to Tibetan Medical College where he consulted a Tibetan doctor who gave him a 5-day course medicines in a brown envelope. After taking a full day of medicine, the protagonist was feeling good. Satan left him thereafter, assuring his health condition. The protagonist was staying at Dorchen. That place had a general store where Chinese cigarette, soap, and other things were available. In the afternoon, the men gathered at a savvy table to play pool every day. Women would wash their hair in the narrow stream. Dorchen had one problem. It had no pilgrims. According to the local people, in the peak season of pilgrimage, the place would be filled with travelers. He met a person in the Dorchen only cafe. The protagonist, the narrator, met a person in the Dorchen's only cafe. His name was Norbu, who was a Tibetan working in Beijing at the Institute of Ethnic Literature of Chinese Academy of Social Science. He came to Dorchen to complete the Quora just like the protagonist. He was fat and found it difficult to walk. The protagonist decided to go on the pilgrimage with him. They hired yokes to carry their luggage. Narbu finally said it is not possible for him while he collapsed across the table and laughed hilariously. His tummy was also too big. Now students, let us proceed on the paragraph wise detailed explanation of the lesson. Let us see reading paragraph first. A flawless half moon floated in a perfect blue sky on the morning we said our goodbyes. Extended banks of cloud like long French lobes glowed big pink as the sun emerged to splash the distant mountain tops with a rose tinted blush. Now that we were leaving Rabu, Lamo said she wanted to give me a farewell present. One evening, I had told her through Daniel that I was heading towards Mount Kailash to complete the Quora. and she had said that I ought to get some warmer clothes. After ducking back into her tent, she emerged carrying one of the long sleeved sheepskin coats that wore. All the men wore. Wore. Satan sized me up as we clambered into the car. Oh, yes, he declared. Drokwa, sir. We took a shortcut to get off the Chintong. Satan knew a route that would take us southwest, almost directly towards Mount Kailash. It involved crossing several fairly high mountains passes. He said, but no problem, sir, he assured us, if there is no snow. What was the likelihood of that? I asked, not knowing, sir, until we get there. Students, here are some words they should be noticed as flawless means having no fault, having no guilt. But here the meaning of flawless means perfect, with no faults or mistakes. Clean. Okay? For example, a flawless diamond, a flawless moon. A flawless diamond means having no any kind of impurity. A perfect diamond. Splash used about a liquid to fly in drops onto a person or thing. Here, a sprinkle of light. Here, the splash of light means here the sprinkle of light by sun. As to sprinkle sugar on a cake. Here, as we sprinkle sugar on a cake, sun sprinkles light on the top of the mountain. Blush, to become red in the face, especially because you are embarrassed or feel guilty. She blushed with shame. Okay, let us see in a sentence. She blushed with shame. Emerged. Emerged means to come out. Emerge. Emerge means to come out. Here the sun emerged means the sun came out from the sea. Clambered means to move or climb with difficulty, using both hands and feet. If a person climb in a car or somewhere facing much difficulty and to climb into, he uses both hands and feet, then that is clambered. Drokba, a Tibetan shepherd who tends his flocks. Ducking back means coming back after going into the tent house. As students, you might have seen the ducks float on water and time to time they dive into deep water to find out their food and come out again. Here, the Lamo, a Tibetan lady, ducked into her tent house and came back with a sheepskin coat. Here, a good phrase, duck back, is used. Involved, included into. Let us see the expression of the first paragraph, including one more. The lesson starts with the author's journey from the slopes of the Rabu Hills to Mount Kailash to complete the Kora, as sacred walk around the sacred mountain, the mountain Kailash. Though in the beginning the author accepts that he is more adventurous than being a religious person? Yes, true. But he also accepted that he wanted to complete the Kora, that is, a sacred walk around the sacred mountain known as Mount Kailash. The author describes his journey to Mount Kailash, its beauty, and he describes the beauty of the mountains, jungles, rivers, and animals found around it. He also describes its hurdle in the mountains, overcoming difficulties in an interesting way. When the author started his journey along with his two companions, Satan, the driver, and Daniel, his other companion, it was an early morning with a clear sky. The clear, bright moon with its spotless look was floating in a perfect blue sky. On that very pleasant morning, Arthur and his companions said goodbyes to the local people. At this time of departure, the narrator looks charmed at the beauty of nature in that very morning. The vast banks of clouds, like long French lobes, were shining pink as the rising sun sparkled its golden light on the distant mountain tops. The peaks looked pink red, blushed due to sun's sprinkling of light. The peaks of the mountains looked pink red, blushed due to sun's sprinkling of its light on them. Now that they were leaving the slopes of Rabu, Lamu, a Tibetan lady, said that she wanted to give the author a farewell gift. One evening, the author had told the lady through Daniel that he was going towards Mount Kailash to complete the Kora, and she had said that he, that is, narrator, should get some warmer clothes. After going back into her tent house, she came out carrying one of the long sleeved sheepskin coat which all the men had put on. Satan sized the coat to the author as they climbed into his car. Satan, seeing the author in sheepskin coat, said respectfully that he, that is, author or narrator, looks as Drokwa, a local Tibetan who tends his flocks. The author and his companions took a shortcut to get off the slopes of Chengtong. Chengtong. Satan knew a route that would lead them southwest, nearly direct towards Mount Kailash. This shortcut route involved many pretty high mountains passes as well as some hurdles too. But Satan, the taxi driver, assured them, saying that there would be no problem if there is no snow. The narrator asked the driver about the possibility of being snow there. Satan, the driver, says that he doesn't know anything about it until they get there.